and he has written several books. I believe one of them, is on my to-do reading list, is How Democracies Die. And he truly does believe that conservatives are key to whether or not democracies live or die. And that can only happen when conservatives are strong enough that they can, quote unquote, quarantine far right elements. And this is what he said in a 2017 interview. In countries where the center right is willing to quarantine the far right, undemocratic forces should be politically neutralized. But when the center right gives in to temptation to try to use the far right because it thinks that that's the only way it can win, then their Faustian bargain ends up like they all do, not like they expected. Mainstream conservatives find out that they, and not the radicals, were the ones that were being manipulated. That they weren't appeasing the far right, but empowering it. And I should add that that was exactly what happened to conservatives in Germany in the early 1930s. They thought that they could control and tame the Nazis. They were becoming a rising force in German politics. They figured that they could control them. And of course, we know that did not end well. It didn't end well for Germany. It didn't end well for democracy. It didn't end well for the world. One of the problems with the current Republican Party really isn't as much the politicians. It is actually the voters. Now, not everyone that voted for Donald Trump, whether they voted in 2016 or 2020, is someone that is a fascist or wants to destroy democracy. So I think it's important to say that out front. But it does matter how the party treats its voters. So Zebot believes that strong political parties that are able to kind of direct the passions of the voters are the ones that are doing well. They're strong parties. A weak party is going to be one that is actually driven by the voters. A strong party, in some ways, what they have are firewalls. They can mobilize the voters to do things that can keep and support stability. But a party that is weak is basically, and this is what Zebot says, a holding company of different groups and interests, where the leadership doesn't have a monopoly of financing and selection of candidates. So if you have that where they really don't have control, then you are very much open to radicalism. And as Zebot has note, that when a conservative party succumbs to radicalism, when they have become a liberal, then the whole democratic experiment is threatened.